Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Hey, how is everyone doing? I hope you all had a nice weekend. And by the way, to all you Americans out there, happy Thanksgiving! Oh, and before I continue, I just forgot to do one little thing, and that's just to go and fix up something with my webcam, just to go and put up the background filters. There we go. I honestly forgot to go and turn that back on after doing a stream of What's in the Box, which honestly, that went very well, and honestly, I had a very nice time, and even the chat had a very nice time. So once again, I just want to go and give out a huge thanks to all the people who have participated in What's in the Box, rather it be if you sent a letter or a package, and to everyone who joined the stream on What's in the Box. And don't worry, the YouTube version will be coming out very soon on the AniMat's bonus features YouTube channel. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you Americans out there, considering that I am recording this during Thanksgiving week. So, of course, we all know what that means for everyone, or at least to you Americans. It means that you're just going to be eating a lot of food, you're going to get annoyed by relatives, and also, you're going to shop like crazy for Black Friday. Not to mention going out to watch some of the big movies that are going to be coming out, considering that Wicked for Good was already released, and Zootopia 2 is just around the corner. Or by the time you're watching this on YouTube, is already out now. But anyways, we're not here for Thanksgiving. We're not here for any of that. What we are here for is another episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And boy, do I have plenty of animated surprises for you all, some of which you may have already seen and may have already talked about on social media. But then there are a few extra things that did happen that, oh boy, do I want to go and present to you all here. Oh! And also, I almost forgot to go and mention that speaking of what's going to be coming out this Thanksgiving, what I have in store for you all, yes, folks, it is time. The long-awaited return of Animation Look Back is finally going to happen, where I'm going to be talking about Blue Sky Studios, and that's going to be coming out this Friday. But also, if you guys follow me on Blue Sky, then you could go and check out a free exclusive preview on the platform. I decided, you know what, it'll be like a fun little tie-in, you know, considering that there's a social media app called Blue Sky. I'm going to be talking about Blue Sky Studios on Animation Look Back. Might as well make that fun little connection with the two and provide a little treat for those who are on Blue Sky. So, with all that said now, I think it is now time we should go and get into this episode. So, let me go and first ask the chat wall. And I want to ask you all, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear, folks. Who is ready? Let's see now. Yes. Oh, wow. People are ready. Okay. I see. Yes. People are prepared. That is beautiful. And so, with that said, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And for our first couple of stories that I have for you today, we are going to be watching some trailers. So yes, it will be a bit of a continuation of the big role that I was going with last week when I had Anthony Gramuglia as my guest here on AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And honestly, I had a wonderful time with him. So honestly, it was just great all around. And it turned out such a beautiful episode right there. But one of the trailers that we looked at and talked about was the teaser for Toy Story 5. And I will say, even though I am cautiously optimistic about the movie, I felt underwhelmed by the teaser. Yes, I know with teasers, they're not meant to go and show us a lot, but the problem that I have with it is that it didn't provide me with anything new. Like, yes, we know that the main theme of it is going to be toys versus tech, but I wanted to go and see something that, I didn't already know about, or that something that I haven't seen yet that they could go and expand the concept of. Something like the malfunction Buzz Lightyears, or how this movie is going to be a lot more about Jessie. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to have more from that teaser, and I didn't really get it. It didn't fully sell me on the idea of Toy Story 5. But this is not going to be about Toy Story 5. This is going to be about the other Pixar film that's going to be coming out in 2026. So, without further ado, let's go and start this off by checking out the full trailer of the upcoming Pixar animated movie, Hoppers.
Doc! Oh, I need your help. Mabel, I'm in the middle of class.
LOL, I mean, Jerry. Drive now. Rocket ship.
And that is Hoppers, to which it will be coming out in theaters on March 6th next year. And I just want to go and say right now that I know it is definitely unfair to go and compare this trailer to what we saw last week with the Toy Story 5 teaser, considering that one's a teaser and this is a full-blown trailer, and that one shows us a lot more of how this movie is going to be. So that's why I'm going to be setting Toy Story 5 aside until we do get a full trailer, probably closer to when Hoppers is going to be released, and then we would go and fully talk about that one. But from what we have seen with this one, holy crap, I think this honestly elevated my expectations. This looks like it is going to be a strong contender for possibly the funniest Pixar film out there. Like almost on par, or even on par with what we have gotten with Turning Red. And I really enjoyed Turning Red. I really love that movie. So honestly, that's already a positive sign. And I think that's the first major thing that I want to go and talk about. It's just the comedy. It is great. Like, it really does feel like this oddball style comedy, especially like just emphasizing the goofiness and the weirdness with what's going on in the forest and really playing with the concept. Like already just with some of the things that we have seen, that already they're playing up with the idea of how Mabel has been turned into a robot beaver. And there have been a few instances where we do see that concept be taken advantage of in terms of the plot and in terms of the comedy, especially like when Mabel doesn't want to hear what the professors have to say, so that like she just has a button she could just turn off, or even like the commentary from the professors also. Like one quote that has often been going around, just to go and back up here, like this one right here.
Rule number 2, when you gotta eat, eat.
How did he get a little crown?
That's your question?
Like, that was honestly funny. Like, just pointing out the little crowns and just, like, being self-aware of its own absurdity. Honestly, I am just loving it. And not to mention, it's not just in terms of what is written for the comedy that's actually a lot of fun, but even some of the visual gags as well. Like, one of my favorite images that actually came out is after Mabel asks about what are pawn rules, and then everybody is doing their own little like celebratory screech right over here, like just this part.
Bull, everyone!
Like, just this image alone, honestly, This is hilarious. You see everybody doing their own weird screech. You got King George over here who's just like proud of the traditions being carried on, and Mabel just in the middle, just standing there like, what the fridge have I signed up to? So already the comedy, I gotta say, is just beautiful. And speaking of the visuals, by the way, many people did notice that there is one little Easter egg that actually did pop up that is a major throwback to a Pixar classic. And that is at the moment where we hear the chants about squishing, which is right over, yeah, okay, exactly, right over here. So as you can see in this image, like you got all the snakes, you got the geese behind, and you got two frogs that are all chanting squish. But then also, you got these three blue egg-like birds, and that is a throwback to For the Birds. And it was actually revealed that this is going to be a tribute to the late Pixar artist Ralph Eggleston, in which he actually did contribute to Hoppers, in which very early in its production, before he passed away, he actually did do some concept art and actually did do some early work. So as a way to give respects to him and to honor him in the feature, they do include the For the birds onto Hoppers and just be a part of the forest. And also, I just want to go and add that maybe I've already mentioned this before, but honestly, For the Birds is one of my personal favorite Pixar shorts. I loved it when I first saw it as a kid, and I still really enjoy it to this day. And I just want to go and add, now, I know that maybe the likelihood of this actually happening may not really be the case, but honestly, it's just like a little simple wish that I have for this feature. Like, I know they didn't do it in this scene in particular here, but when all the animals are chanting squish and demanding to go and squish the humans, and we see this shot here, I am hoping that they also add some squeaks. Just like in For the Birds, like if they're going to communicate, regardless if we see them live or if we see them from the human's perspective, I really do hope we hear squeaking from these birds, like all of them going squish, 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 and then we see the blue birds going. Oh, that honestly would just make my day. Honestly, it would make me love the movie even more, and it would perfectly tie into the tribute of For the Birds. That's all I am asking, man. If you want to go and add For the Birds on it, you gotta make them squeak. That's all I want to ask for it. All right, but anyways, there is another thing that I do want to add, and this is something that honestly really caught my intrigue. Like, yes, already the animation is pretty solid and the comedy is absolutely top notch. But what I do like is actually in the end where we do see where its environmental message kind of shines. Because beforehand, there was a controversy where people have mentioned that there used to be an environmental message on this feature, but then executives have allegedly decided to go and remove it. But then the director of the film, Daniel Chong, came in and said that this is not true, that executives did not tamper with his original vision for the feature. And what we are seeing here is very interesting, where they are taking the environmental message that we would commonly see in animated features, but they're also flipping it upside down, where now the animals are also shown in a more antagonistic light, where by trying to defend the forest, they want to go and take down the humans. So there is kind of that extra layer of complexity that might also add a bit of comedy. Ooh, excuse me. I was trying to hold that back, but honestly, it just kept rising up and up more that I talk. But anyways, as I was saying, like with the environmental message that they are showing, they're not going to go and present it in a simple black and white way. You know, it's not, you know, it's kind of like if you take Open Season, for example, but you're not going to make it as simple as animals good, humans bad. You know, they're going to go a little bit extra to show that, yes, the animals can have a bit of an antagonistic side in this story, especially with that butterfly, whom, by the way, is confirmed that is going to be played by Meryl Streep. So, alrighty, the cast has a bit of some extra zing to it, like with some prominent names like that. So, already, I feel like with what we have seen in this trailer, this has got me hooked. This honestly makes me more excited to go and check out, and it's already up there among one of my most anticipated animated movies of the year, especially the animation. It looks gorgeous. The comedy is fantastic, and honestly just really makes it engaging and hilarious throughout. And even the environmental message with what they're providing, it makes it very interesting. So overall, I feel like this could be the next Turning Red in all the best ways possible. And not to mention, there already kind of is this similarity to Turning Red, where you do have this young girl of color who's going to frequently be turned, or mostly be turned, into an animal, or like this round furry animal throughout the picture. So you do have a little bit of that connection as well. So overall, honestly, this is a great trailer, and I'm very excited for what Pixar has in store with Hoppers. And if you are excited for Hoppers, then keep in mind that the movie shall be coming out in theaters on March 6th of next year. And with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall. And I'd like to ask you all, what did you all think of the Hoppers trailer? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys have any criticisms that make you not like it as much? I would love to know your opinions on it. And also, why don't we go a little bit extra? And I'm going to go and write down a poll. And I want to go and ask you guys right over here. So let's see. What can I go and write? Oh, actually, I'll go with this. Did you enjoy the Hoppers trailer? So I'll go and write down yes, and then I'll write down no, and see what the chat has to say here. All right, so. Oh, and of course, there's bound to be people who are going to do the lizard emoji. Okay, anyways, here, let's see. It sounds like Pixar is going to have a solid 40th anniversary with Toy Story and Hoppers. What I loved about this trailer is the visual and animation style. You could tell by the character designs that this is being made by Daniel Chong, the creator of We Bare Bears, by the way, with how the animals look. But my favorite aspect is at the end where the beavers are in the mayor's car, when you could see the detail of the animals not having sclera when viewed by the humans. I think it's a very neat touch, in my opinion. Yes, and some people did point that out, by the way. It's actually that is actually pretty cool, where you see like the perspectives really being played around. And that is actually especially the case like right at the end, where you see like in the mayor's car. Here, let's turn off the volume here. And you see like with the animals, like even with the lizard, just back it up there, like the lizard just has black dots for eyes, or especially you see the case with Mabel. Like you see Mabel, like as she's texting, she's got like full like white eyes with black dots. But then you see it from the mayor's perspective, and it's just those black dots. So honestly, it's pretty cool the way that they would go and flip that around. That's honestly a very, it's a subtle but a very impressive touch to see like the different perspectives. So honestly, very cool right there. Anyways, let's see. Honestly, I am more excited for Hoppers than Toy Story 5 because the funny animals and comedy. It's coming in March 2026 with no major movies, I think, and a month before the Super Mario Galaxy movie is released. So hopefully it will be successful at the box office. Also, that man at the end looks like Bob Iger, and the animals, including a lizard, are not happy with his dumb moves at Disney. Well, I mean, I don't know if I would say that, because I know like this is supposed to be like the mayor of that town, And I mean, I don't know if you see, I don't know if I see Bob Iger, but I don't know, like, because maybe it's just because it's a Disney movie. So of course, like when you think Disney, you like some people would think Bob Iger, but I don't think that would be the intention here. I think it's just people who are like more, I think it's more from people who have Bob Iger living in their head, rent free. So like there are times when you can just separate the two and just enjoy the freaking movie. So I'm just saying, like, you don't have to always think about Bob Iger when it comes to Disney, because the problem ain't Disney or Bob Iger at that point. The problem is you. Let's see now. This is a certified lizard moment. This looks like it's going to be really fun. The animation is really lively and the concept is the right amount of crazy. But what's really catching my eye is the humor. This looks like it's going to be the funniest Pixar movie since Turning Red, and as such, I can't wait. Also, if I had a nickel for every time Mel Streep was in an animated movie where she plays an insect queen, I'm going to stop talking because I see my friend Bumpy Gaming pointing a gun at me. Yes, because at every moment you will find a Doofenshmirtz meme to go and be had. Anyways, hey, how come we don't have this type of technology? Instead of AI crap, we want this technology to communicate with animals instead. So far, the premise for Hoppers is absolutely great. I love the humor, the animation, the different kind of animals that they use, especially the lizard, and the theme of environmentalism. Overall, I think 2026 is going to be a great year for Pixar. All right, very nice. Let's see now. Oh, actually, did I miss the crap? I think, oh, wow. So, I do apologize that I did miss out on seeing the results of the poll, but apparently from what the chat wall has said, it is godforsaken unanimous. Like literally, there's actually been a good amount of votes that have been had, like more than usual, and everybody who has voted has said yes, they did enjoy the Hoppers trailer. So that's already a very strong and a very positive sign right there. So great on Hoppers, and already the hype is building up for that feature. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. I must say this trailer was a really pleasant surprise, and this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. The story seems very engaging, is visually impressive with all the different animals, and really looks gorgeous, and the humor is great. So overall, it looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. Honestly, the only thing I'm a little concerned about is if Disney will prioritize Toy Story 5 over this, and this won't get much attention, mainly after how Elio was treated. Yeah, I know, like, a lot of people would go and bring up the whole aspect of the marketing with Elio and stuff like that, and how a big part of Elio's failure is because of Disney's marketing. But at the same time, though, I just want to go and say that if you really want this movie to succeed, then you also have to do your part as well in order to make sure that the word of mouth is strong, is positive, and get it out there for people to go and watch more original animated films on the big screen like Hoppers. Like if K-Pop Demon Hunters is able to go and actually become a massive phenomenon just by word of mouth, because keep in mind, Netflix didn't do much with the marketing on that feature either, then I think you guys can also pull that same weight to go and elevate Hoppers the same way you guys did with K-Pop Demon Hunters. So I'm just saying. Let's see now. Okay, so Mabel's a college student. Cool. That explains why she knows the scientists. This looks like a lot of fun. This looks like a fun and cute movie. I like how Mabel is realizing that she didn't actually want humans to die, just stop the greedy ones destroying the environment. I feel like the Hoppers teaser gave me more than Toy Story 5 in just its tone and themes. I love the ending joke of her using the speech feature to hold up the mayor business person. I think this will be a cute, funny movie. All right, I think I'll have time for one more comment to go and read. I'll say now, very funny. Like, I think it's the funniest movie Pixar made since Turning Red. The Easter eggs are fun, the jokes are hilarious, and most importantly, they got Bobby Moynihan doing a voice, because it's Daniel Chong's production when Bobby's doing a role. Overall, I know what I'm asking for my birthday. I'll tell you that because I know what's going to be more funnier than 25. Well, there you go, folks. Great to see that there's a lot of love and a lot of enthusiasm for Hoppers. And if you are excited to go and check out the movie, then keep in mind that it shall be coming out in theaters on March 6th of next year. All right, so with that said, we are going to go on to our first break. And when we do come back, I have one more trailer to go and show you, but do keep in mind that this is not going to be as pleasant as Hoppers. In fact, we're going to have a very chaotic Christmas, so stay tuned for that. All right, welcome back. Now, I must say, looking at the chat wall, it's honestly pretty funny that none of you were able to go and guess it. And I think a big part of it is because, well, not many actually know about this. Because this was actually a news that I have received directly from my email. Because when you are a certified critic on Rotten Tomatoes, you actually get a whole bunch of emails on a daily basis telling you about many upcoming movies, not really any of the major ones per se, but a lot of like smaller indie films. But this one, however, caught my attention, but maybe not in the right ways. It's just something that I feel like it's absolutely insane. And just by seeing it, well, it's something that I have to share with you all in here. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, brace yourselves, because this is actually something that is already out right now. In fact, the release date was actually on November 21st on the Friday. So as I am recording this, you could go and actually see it. But allow me to go and present to you the piece of madness that I have to witness, and now you must witness this as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming Asylum animated movie, A Winnie the Pooh Christmas.
In a magical corner of the world, there lived a very little bear who loved three things above all others: his friends, his cozy treehouse, and most especially honey.
And good honey to all.
Typical.
Yes, folks, that was A Winnie the Pooh Christmas, to which you can actually go and check it out right now. Now, I don't know where specifically you could go and find it, but it's out there somewhere. The movie is released, and I don't know if you could either watch it for free or you have to pay for it, but it's available now to go and see. And by the way, I might end up breaking some hearts in the chat wall, but is there a voice that sounds awfully familiar to you? Was there a voice that you have heard among that cast that kind of rings a bell or has a familiar tone to it? Well, if there is, that is because of Owl. In fact, let me just go and step back a little bit, you know? Let's go and actually reverse, and I want you guys to go and hear that specifically. Like, yep, there we go.
Mizzy, your Christmas presents have been stolen by the Heffalumps and Woozles.
Heffalumps and Woozles.
Yep. Oh, some of you got it right. That is indeed Bruce Campbell as Owl. So, yep, they managed to rope him in order to go and voice one of the characters in this godforsaken movie. Now, with that said, there's something that I gotta go and also show you, because when I received that email, the first thing that I saw was not this trailer, but it was actually this poster here that it just decided to go and present. And I just want to go and analyze this first and foremost. In fact, here, let me just go and actually do something, because here, without spoiling what the next story is going to be. Here, actually, let's just back that up. There we go. And then, where are you? Where the fridge is, I'm not, no, don't play it again. Okay, there we go. All right, there. Sorry, I'm not used to managing Windows. I'm more of a Mac person. But anyways, so this is the poster that I first saw with this Winnie the Pooh Christmas. And as you could tell, obviously, the poster is AI generated. This is clearly made with AI. And I just want to go and state that honestly, this is something that should go and surprise literally no one. Because we are talking about an Asylum movie. And of course, the Asylum would be the kind of company that would go and use AI in order to go and produce their animated features. So from there, yeah, like it's shameful, but we are talking about the Asylum, so of course they have no shame. But with this poster here, there's just so much to go and analyze that, oh my God, it feels crazy to see. Like, first of all, like you look behind, you can tell this is AI because the trees behind the gang, they are the most lazily decorated trees out there. Like, especially when the Christmas lights, they're just like, they're lazily wrapped around and like not even finished at that point. Like they just look like sad Christmas trees, like an attempt to try to decorate, but they stopped like after 1 minute and that's it. But honestly, the craziest thing is when you look at the characters right in front. Like, first and foremost, Winnie the Pooh freaking towers over everyone. I mean, I get it. It's Winnie the Pooh. This is his movie. But still, though, it's kind of weird to see him this gigantic compared to literally every single other character. And I mean, sure, like, yeah, he's bigger than Piglet. That's one thing. But even Piglet kind of looks really tiny compared to everyone else. Like, normally, it would be like Piglet and like Pooh's size would be like how Tigger is right now. In fact, even the size, like, I'll even just back up. The sizes are like way different when you see them in the actual movie. And this is not even to mention, by the way, if you go back over here, like, you could tell also that this is AI because this honestly has so many different features that the actual movie doesn't have. You know, like actual like textures with the fur all around the characters, and even that it has that shading, you know, the shading that only AI could go and actually create. That it looks fine at first glance, but you could tell that, you know, it's not man-made at all. So yeah, like you look at Pooh and he's just so freakishly gigantic. And not to mention, like, this is something in both this and in the actual movie. Hold on a sec, sorry. Let's just back it up. But something in the actual movie that I find so funny, that there are like inches of trying to really copy Disney without surpassing any copyright infringement. And that is with the scarf. The fact that he has this large red scarf that is almost like a shirt, but you see Pooh kind of wearing it like a poncho, rather it be in the movie or even in this poster. Like, they know very well what they're doing. They're trying to copy Disney's Winnie the Pooh without actually being Winnie the Pooh. But to go back to the other characters, you also look at Tigger and you look at Eeyore with how they are just at shoulder height at Pooh. So that's another thing that just feels weird to see this small Tigger compared to like the gigantic Winnie the Pooh. And I've already commented on Piglet, but I just want to say, out of all the characters and literally out of everything in this entire poster, the weirdest one of them all is Rabbit. Why in the name of fridge is Rabbit so tiny? I think he's even smaller than Piglet here, but it's just kind of crazy to see, like, you know, you got the giant Pooh, and then you got Tigger and Eeyore that are like okay size, and then you got Rabbit, who like shrunk so much. Like, why is he's almost the same height as Piglet? Like, why? Like, what the fridge is this? Even, oh my God, page unresponding. Like, even this window is not having any of it. You know it's bad when even this freaking internet window is looking at this poster and is like, no, I'm done. I am freaking done with this. You know what? Okay, fine. Let's get out of that. Let's calm the computer down, because like even that cannot go and process that weird poster that we have just seen. So yeah, and like even looking at this, like the animation in it, like, okay, there's no denying it just looks bad, but it's honestly hilariously bad, especially when you could tell everything is just straight up mocap. Instead of actually doing any form of animation, they're just doing motion capture with all the characters. And you could tell with like this hyper realistic style movement, especially with characters like Pooh. And it just, it looks strange. I mean, the most that I could compliment with it is that, okay, it kind of looks better than Food Fight, but still, like, especially with the reactions, there's just something about it that looks absolutely strange. And honestly, the weirdest one of them all has to be Tigger, because there are several instances like right over here, for some reason, they gave Tigger teeth. Like, what is this? And there are some shots where, like, it can be extremely prominent. Like, oh boy, like, hold on. Oh yeah, like this one here. Oh God, look at this. Look at Tigger. What is happening to Tigger here? Oh my Lord. He's opening his mouth way too much. And it's at the point where it's like, his mouth is so wide, you can even see the gums. What is this? Oh God! Oh Lord! It's like, oh God! What is happening here? Did his jaw muscles give up on him? It's just like, oh God! Oh my! Oh, and that's Roo. That's Roo. They gave Roo teeth, and they gave Roo teeth. And the freaking tongue. Oh God, this is not natural. What is this? What is this? And this is supposed to be like a cute, fun little movie. Oh geez. And even like the plot line that they have going on, it's supposed to be like, oh, we need our presents back from the Heffalumps of Woo. There's just, I don't know, man. I feel like there's just so much of it where nothing is right. And and the more I look at this, like, speaking of like copyright infringement with the way they design Winnie the Pooh, like, it's just everything about it. It feels like it's one step closer to being legit copyright infringement, because even like the color tones, so much of it, like with the colors that the characters have, I mean, like, you got Eeyore that has like the same shades of gray that Disney's Eeyore has. And you also got Rabbit over here, which thankfully he's not stupidly tiny as much as he was in the poster, but he's all yellow. And the thing, this is honestly the living proof right here. Like, if the poster is not already a major tell, you could tell that this is straight up made with AI, or at least there was a lot of AI that was involved, especially when it comes to the character designs, because on top of the designs looking a little bit too familiar to what they did with Disney, there's just also the factor that with the way that they are, drawn, well, I guess you could say the way that they're like drawn if they were in 2D, there's just so much of it that, of course, it is AI. My point that I want to make is that, of course, it is AI, because they're taking the Winnie the Pooh iconography, most of which is what Disney made, and the AI generators would go and create something like this. Honestly, this is something that I feel like we need to go and bring like an actual lawyer to go and inspect if this would actually be allowed. Like, oh, excuse me, folks. Just need to get that out of my system again. But the thing is with this is that, like, yes, I know that when it comes to Winnie the Pooh, it is it is public domain. You know, it's been a few years now since Winnie the Pooh and even characters like Tigger, like, they're all in the public domain. But still, just because it is in the public domain, that doesn't mean that you can use literally any image of the characters in order to go and actually create your version of Winnie the Pooh. And that's what I'm wondering, like, when you do look at this, you know, you look at the characters' designs, you look at the color palette, you look at the way they try to create their own version of Winnie the Pooh. Would this be considered enough to get a pass and not actually count as copyright infringement? Or would this be considered close enough to raise the alarms for Disney and to call this thing out? Because honestly, I feel like it's kind of a very iffy situation, because it feels like, yeah, there are some distinct differences where you could tell it's not the Disney version, but there's so many similarities where it could easily fool people into believing this is like a new Disney's Winnie the Pooh, and especially, like, as I mentioned, like with all the colors, and even with Winnie the Pooh himself, where the designs look a lot like what you'd find with Disney's Winnie the Pooh, and even like the red scarf is trying a little too hard to emulate Winnie the Pooh's red shirt that he would have in the Disney iconography with it. So that's one thing I'm wondering if this would be a concern for Disney lawyers, or if this actually is enough in order to get a pass. I don't know. I guess it would determine if Disney would want to go and take action on this. But my point is that it's very obvious that AI was heavily involved with this. And of course, Asylum would use AI. But overall, though, yeah, I think it's no surprise that, like, you don't have... This is one of those cases that just by watching the trailer alone, you could tell that this movie is bad. You could tell that it's just awful, especially with the animation, the way it used AI in its promotional material, and in terms of the characters' designs, the way, you know, just by everything they would go and present is such a weird anomaly with the fact that this exists, and this is just Asylum's way to go and try to capitalize on the success of Winnie the Pooh, or just on the fact that Winnie the Pooh is in the public domain, and try to capitalize on Disney's success with Winnie the Pooh. It's just, honestly, it's one of those crazy stories that I have to bring up and that I have to discuss in this podcast, because again, it's one of those things that really does emphasize the cartoon and the crazy. So yeah, I know some people might not be happy with its existence, or maybe might not be happy with the fact that I'm even promoting this in the first place just by talking about it here. But honestly, I just need to express some place to go and talk about, because this cannot go on its own without someone pointing out what the fridge is that. So if you guys are interested in actually seeing this, keep in mind, it's available right now. It is released. But with that said, though, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall. And I want to ask you all, what did you guys think of the trailer of A Winnie the Pooh Christmas? Did this catch your attention to the point that you want to watch it? Are you guys going to be stepping far away from it? Let me know what you all think. Or if you have any additional questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay, I have one question. What the hell did I just watch? I mean, the animation looks like it was created in 10 minutes. It looks like fugly as hell. It used AI to extent that it's borderline criminal, and and the sizing is so inconsistent that Ant-Man has more consistent size. Disney lawyers will have a field day when they see this, because when they do, they are hungry. Yeah, you're telling me, dude. What the balls was that? The animation is dildos, the voice acting is really off, and what blackmail does the Asylum have on Bruce Campbell? Did they threaten to leak the Cars 2 Locust cut? In short, do not want. I mean, I should be glad this isn't another piece of AI slop, but wait, that poster cemented it as such. What are they doing? You know, the funny thing is, when I received that email about a Winnie the Pooh Christmas, no joke, they were mainly advertising Bruce Campbell. Like, of course he was in Evil Dead, but they also emphasize like, oh, it's Bruce Campbell who voiced in other cartoons like Cars 2 and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So honestly, in that regard, it's like when you're pointing those two movies out and then you're telling us he's now voicing in an Asylum movie, I feel like that transition, honestly, it's like, doesn't seem that far off in the first place. It's like, you know, when you put it like that, I think I know why Bruce is in something like this now. Okay, anyways, why does Roo have a blue shirt? I can't believe I'm saying this, but Disney sued the ever-loving crap for stealing that specific design for this character. Ooh, actually, that is a good eye because, oh, where was it? Like, sorry, I gotta go back, but oh yeah, with the Tigger with like the with the the frozen jaw with his muscles like out like yeah, it is true. Roo does have a blue shirt. You know, like it is a t-shirt and it's not like a long sweatshirt, and the blue is darker than the Disney version usually, I believe. But no, that is actually a good eye. That is, it does feel like an element that, again, they completely stole from Disney. Oh my goodness. But anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. Honestly, I'm glad that it's not a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. I don't hate the designs, they're not the best, but I was expecting much worse for this budget. Bruce Campbell, really? Cars 2 and Tangled the series was better for you, man. This was a waste of public domain. At least the horror stuff tried to be different. Exactly. And like with the horror stuff, like with Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, you know that they didn't really use actual AI in order to craft that. I mean, at least, like, I've only seen the first movie, and that one absolutely sucked, but at least they're doing something different and something original. This, on the other hand, they're just straight up trying to be like Disney. So much so to the point that you kind of question if it would be copyright infringement or not. I mean, I'm not a professional lawyer. Again, I am asking if there is, like, a professional lawyer who can step in and can determine if this would be considered actual copyright infringement to the point that Disney could take action. But still, though, it's like you could tell so easily that the Asylum is just trying to copy Disney's Winnie the Pooh and even using AI for that. Let's see what other comments are there. So what did many animation reviewers online say about supporting indie animation? Is this the indie animation they want to support? I don't think so. Joking aside, this version of Winnie the Pooh looks god-awful. So god-awful that I want to experience this. I love movies so bad that they're good, and this is definitely one of them. But screw the Asylum for using AI for the poster. That I can foul on. Thanks for ruining Christmas already, Asylum. Yeah, I mean, like, as I'm recording this, like, we're only about a month away from Christmas, and already this is, you know, like, just to, here, just want to go back, like, already, this is the freaking Christmas that they're giving us. Freaking dead, freaking frozen, dead muscle jaw Tigger here. All right, let's see now. I have no idea what I just watched. This looks absolutely horrible, but it looks hilariously bad, even from the animation, the voice acting, and just the writing in general. This truly is fantastically, fascinatingly bad. Then again, it's from the Asylum, so really I'm not that surprised, not to mention the use of AI on the poster and in the movie. Seriously, I haven't seen a movie that looks this hilariously bad since Ice Cube's War of the Worlds. Yeah, honestly, it is it is one of those things where you could tell that like, it's so, like, maybe for some people, they'll actually get some enjoyment out of it. I think that's probably the best case scenario, where it's so bad, it's actually very entertaining, that could be the case. And I've already seen some people asking if I am going to be doing an AniMat watches. Maybe not this year, but I'll probably think about it. Maybe like for next Christmas or something. But yeah, honestly, that's like probably the best you can get out of this, is that it is so bad it can actually give you a laugh. All right, I think I'll go and read one more comment, and then we're going to go on to our next break. So let's see. If I want a CGI Winnie the Pooh project, I would rather watch episodes of My Friend Tigger and Pooh. And we're also talking about a Winnie the Pooh preschool series where an episode predicted one of the dances in Fortnite and pre-Nimona Chloe Grace Moritz as Darby. Oh, wow. Actually, we'll do one more comment here. Let's see. This trailer definitely is one piece of poo. The animation is all over the place. Tigger does not sound like Tigger, the same Tigger we all know and love. Okay, yeah. That's perfectly common. So, like, you don't want to go exactly like Tigger's voice in the Disney movie, because then that would be legit copyright infringement. And why is Owl voiced by the mayor for the first Cloudy movie? Well, I mean, again, going from Cloudy to an Asylum movie, not that far off. Anyways, as much as Pooh is in the public domain, the way they designed the characters felt a bit too much like the Disney designs. The Disney lawyers will definitely get the Asylum's butt in court. This looks like something for a new AniMat watches for next month. Again, I don't think I'll be doing it next month, but maybe next year. It's just that, you know, with next month, my schedule is already filled to the brim with both the holidays and my videos. So just want to clarify that there. But yeah, that was a Winnie the Pooh Christmas. So if you guys are morbidly curious to go and watch it, it's out now. It's out there somewhere. I don't know, but it's out in the wild. So feel free to witness this thing right here. And with that said, we're going to go on to our next break. And when we do come back, now we're going to get into the news stories. And the first one that I have of that, we are going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the surprising twist that's coming in their future. So stay tuned for that. All right, welcome back. Now, when it comes to our next story, we are going to go and discuss about Paramount. And as you guys know, one of the biggest entertainment news of the year is the fact that Paramount was officially acquired by Skydance Media, in which that is owned by the Ellison family, more specifically with David Ellison. And yes, even though David is the one who is now in charge of it, it really is the case where it's the entire Ellison family that's kind of like looking down upon Paramount and having control over it, including David's billionaire father, Larry Ellison. So as you can imagine, now that Paramount is under new management, there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be made. And one significant change we have actually heard is going to be in regards to one franchise where the Ellisons decided that they want to go and take it to a whole new direction. And what I'm talking about specifically is in regards to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because right now, Paramount is currently in talks with the producer of the Fast and Furious movies, Neal H. Moritz, in order to go and produce a live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Now, I just want to go and clarify, and I will be repeating this a few times, that we don't know any other extra info outside of just that. It's that we are getting a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie in the future. It's going to primarily be in live action, and we may even get Neal H. Moritz to be a producer on it, and that's pretty much it. But the reason why I started this off by discussing about Paramount and how it's under new management, it's mainly because on top of this happening, there are also some significant changes that are going to be going on with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. And one that recently occurred, you may have heard about this over a week ago or just a little while back, is actually there is one project that did end up getting canceled, and that is the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is the series based on the Mutant Mayhem movie. And I'll be reading you from my source here on The Hollywood Reporter, to which it states, new Paramount has already been shaking up TMNT and its TV media division, and recently put Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a spin-off of Mutant Mayhem, down the sewer, shutting down the series in the middle of production early this fall. This is not the vision the owners want, was the reason given to those working on the show. Showrunner Christopher Yost confirmed the cancellation on Threads, saying the upcoming episodes of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will sadly be the last. Luckily, there are best episodes yet. And at the same time, if I do remember that piece of news, not only did they cancel Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I believe they also canceled the CG Dora reboot series. You could correct me if I'm wrong there, but they also canceled that at the same time. But also, this is not the only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles project that they decided to go and cancel, because this article also revealed that on top of that, Paramount has also temporarily canceled the last Ronin movie. And yes, I say that they temporarily canceled it because it says here, at the same time, The Last Ronin, another TMNT live action, sorry, let me go and rephrase that. I kind of stumbled on my words there. The Last Ronin, another TMNT live-action CG animation hybrid project that was in development, has been put back in the pizza box, according to sources. That project was being developed as an R-rated feature and had nobody filmmaker Ilya Naishuller in talks to direct. But the new regime wasn't keen on having the first non-animated movie in 10 years be a bloody adult-skewing story. One insider says the studio wants to leave the door open to possibly revisit it down the road. So that is why, when it comes to The Last Ronin, it's not necessarily straight up canceled per se, but they're just going to be setting it aside for now. Like, we're not going to be getting in the near future, but maybe somewhere down the road, like at best, maybe 10, 15 years time, Paramount will go and revisit this idea of The Last Ronin, and they could go and just pick it up. So that's why I just want to go and say that with The Last Ronin, maybe we will get that film adaptation in the future, but it won't be in the near future. And for those of you who are concerned, by the way, about one anticipated TMNT project, which is the sequel to Mutant Mayhem, don't you worry, because the article did confirm that everything is fine with that project, and that is still scheduled to be coming out on September 17th, 2027. So that's pretty much the big thing that we got here with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It looks like Paramount wants to go and try to reboot it again, but with a new image this time. And I just want to go and express this right now and get this out of the way, that when it comes to TMNT, there is one thing I feel a bit concerned about this news, and that is regarding the fate of what's going to be happening with the Mutant Mayhem franchise, because they're already in a very strong start, and I really enjoyed that Mutant Mayhem movie. But when it comes to what we have just heard, like now they decided to go and cancel Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and even though we're still getting the sequel, does that mean that the sequel is going to be the end of the line for TMNT in general? Well, not TMNT in general, but I mean for this iteration of TMNT? Because honestly, I feel like that would be a little bit disappointing. And I mean, I get it when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sure, like the interpretations, like they don't often last long. It's like we have this new version of TMNT. It comes up like for only a few years, and then down the line, it would be completely rebooted, and there would be this completely new version where the Turtles are going to be completely different. Like, I know that they would do this again and again, but it kind of feels a shame where that, like, when it comes to the Mutant Mayhem Ninja Turtles, would end up cutting, Paramount would just go and end up cutting that short, because now they want to go and have a new version, especially now that it is under new management. So that's honestly something that I feel like it would be unfortunate if that is the case, but it would be nice if they want to go and do this project and then also keep the Mutant Mayhem franchise going. Because it even says in the article here that, like, at least with Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the thing is that they canceled it because it's not the vision that the owners want. So I don't know if that is specifically with just the show or maybe it's with the entirety of Mutant Mayhem in general, but I guess only time will tell in the future with what's going to be going on. And I guess we'll see in 2027 if they'll confirm if the sequel to Mutant Mayhem will be the last of that iteration of the Ninja Turtles. But to go back over here, when it comes to the upcoming live action version that they want to go and have Neal H. Moritz in, this actually gives us a little bit of a clue of kind of the idea of what they want to go and have with this new version of the Ninja Turtles. Because the main thing with Neal H. Moritz is that he's not just the producer of the Fast and Furious movies. You probably recognize him more as the producer of the Sonic the Hedgehog films. And that is the main reason why they want to bring him on board. In fact, at the end of this article, it even says right over here that multiple sources say Paramount wants to Sonicify the TMNT franchise. And one insider even states that if you want Sonic, you go to the guy who did Sonic. So basically, if Neal H. Moritz can turn Sonic the Hedgehog into a prominent movie franchise, then they're hoping that the same result can also happen with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, with that said, it honestly leaves a big question that I feel like it's a bit hard for me to go and answer, and that's just, what does that mean exactly? How do you Sonicify the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Because you go and take a look at the success of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, there are several factors that go into it. But if I would go and point to why is it that the Sonic movies are so, they're massive fan favorites and they've been very successful to the point that now in just half a decade, it's already an entire trilogy, and it even has a short. I don't know why I'm stumbling in my own words here, but it also has a a spin-off miniseries with Knuckles. How is it that it just really blew up like that? And honestly, if I would go and attribute, and some people are even mentioning that yes, there even is a movie number 4 that's going to be coming soon. But when it comes to Sonic, if I would have to attribute, what is it that made it so successful? I think a big part of it, yes, there is the fan service aspects where they respect a lot of elements from the games and adapt that well onto the feature. And not to mention, it doesn't feel like just straight up fan service that is only that in the same way that you would find in the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie. No, it's fan service, but it does serve a pretty solid purpose. But but especially what I find that what worked great with the Sonic movies is the actors, and specifically the actors who play the familiar characters from the games, like Ben Schwartz as Sonic the Hedgehog, or Colleen O'Shaughnessy, where she would reprise her role as Tails. And then you got Idris Elba as Knuckles, and of course, probably the standout star of them all, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, or in the third movie, also playing his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, on top of Keanu Reeves playing as Shadow the Hedgehog. They manage to not only respect the personalities of the characters that they're playing, but they also play them extremely well. Just capturing the essence of who they are, and really shining a new light upon like how they would go and play it up in the movies, like really, a mixture of like being respectful to the source material, but also leave enough room to make it their own thing, especially like with Ben Schwartz Sonic the Hedgehog, where like he's kind of like this egotistical kid, but still learns about how to be a true hero and stuff. And then you also got Knuckles, whom like, yeah, he's all about being a warrior, but then learning about modern life in his own way. And then, of course, you got Jim Carrey, who is pretty much Jim Carrey, but as a mad doctor. And that's always a lot of fun to go and check out. So that, to me, is what defines the massive success of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. Now, how are you going to go and bring that upon the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? That is honestly something that I don't know. Again, it depends on what they mean specifically with how they want to Sonicify the TMNT. Because in a way, you could go and argue that Mutant Mayhem is already doing that. Like, you already got a bunch of actors that are doing very well with not only being respectful to the source material, but also giving it their own spin in order to make them stand out as their own thing. In fact, I would even say the cast is probably the best thing about Mutant Mayhem. And there is like the animation, of course, the action, and even a bit of the story as well. But it's especially the cast is just wonderful in there. Like, it's like some of the best it's like literally some of the best Turtles that we have gotten in a long time. And this is not even to mention like many of the other characters, like with April O'Neil or Master Splinter, or even like with Baxter Stockman or The Fly, and like several of those other mutants right there. So the thing is, it's like, in a way, it's already TMNT is already Sonicified in that sense, but some people could argue that it's probably, like, with the style that it's going, it's probably leaning closer to Spider-Verse more so than Sonic. So what is it that Paramount has in store with what they want to do with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I don't know, but already the signs are there saying that they're ready for the next chapter of TMNT. Now, with that said, I would like to pass this on to the chat wall, and I want to go and ask you all, what do you think about a possible live action version of TMNT, or another live action version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, with the possibility of having Neal H. Moritz to be the producer so that they could go and Sonicify the franchise? In fact, write down in the chat wall, what do you think it means to Sonicify the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Let me know what you think. All right, so let's see here. This is absolutely devastating news for TMNT fans. Deadpool and Wolverine prove that adult versions of strong IPs can and do work just as well as youth-oriented versions of them. But I guess Paramount just refused to learn the lesson. Outside of animation, Paramount's stewardship of the Turtles has been a disaster. Sonicifying the Turtles sound like a horrific idea. I almost wish Disney had bought the Turtles. At least they'd have respect and make a solid plan for the franchise. Maybe they will, maybe they wouldn't, but that's unfortunately the situation we are in now. Let's see now. Hearing these cancellations relate to Nickelodeon kind of sucks to hear. I did hear the news from friends that worked on the Dora reboot that the show is canceled. Hopefully they will find the next their next gig soon. Yeah, definitely. Let's hope for the best for them. Then this cancellation of the R-rated Ninja Turtles movie is happening as well. I don't know about you guys, but I think Paramount is doing worse than other studios in recent years. Oh, they've already been bad enough to the point that they got bought out by another studio. Now it's just that, now the real question is, how bad is Paramount going to do now under the Ellisons? So, we'll see. Actually, there is a crazy thing that I did hear. I don't know how true it is, but it's just like a piece of news that I saw. Like, I think IGN was the one that reported that apparently Donald Trump is demanding Paramount to go and make a Rush Hour 4. I don't know how true it is, or maybe it's just like some weird ramblings that have been going on the internet. But that just sounds crazy to me. I honestly, it really does highlight like the stupidity and the corruption that is going on with the Ellisons. Like, if we really are going to be getting a Rush Hour 4 mainly because the president of the United States is demanding it and knows that he has power over the Ellisons and Paramount, it's going to be dark times. Let me just tell you that. Anyways, let's see what else we got here. I don't know if it is Rush Hour or it's demanding, like it's demanding a franchise. I saw there was a picture like with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. I think that's Rush Hour, but I could be wrong. Like, if I am wrong, you can feel free to go and correct me on what that news states, but it's like a weird piece of news there. Yeah, it is. Okay, so it is Rush Hour. So yeah, out of all the things that the president of the United States could go and demand, like for a better living for the American people, the dumbass decided to go and demand for a freaking Rush Hour 4. It about neck. Anyways, let's see what we got here. Let's see. What other comments to go and find? Okay, there we go. I'm more of a casual TMNT fan, but I'm a little curious with how this could turn out. I do think having Neal H. Moritz as a producer could help given his works on the Sonic movies. However, I am pretty disappointed that the last Ronin movie is canceled right now, and the fact that the tale of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ended up getting canceled, and it makes me concerned about the future of the Mutant Mayhem franchise. It's really showing the consequences of the Paramount Skydance merger. Oh yeah, I mean, we've already seen some really terrible ones, like literally thousands of jobs being laid off because of this merger already. But yeah, when it comes to like fan favorite franchises, yeah, this is also going to have a massive effect on those as well. And we're already seeing those kinds of consequences onto TMNT. Let's see if there's any other comment to go and read here. I honestly don't have much to say about TMNT, but some of these changes make me worry about other Asian-based animated Paramount projects. The Avatar: The Last Airbender movie was already been delayed several times. We were supposed to get it last month, and the new Avatar series will be a post-apocalyptic, and the new Avatar is a dark-skinned girl who is targeted because of her title. The series is very woke with both its influencers and certain themes. I'm worried how much tampering the Ellisons will do. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to go and take this one at a time. We're just gonna have to wait and see. For now, maybe things are gonna be safe. Maybe things are gonna be fine. But I guess it'll all depend on what the Ellisons want to do and how much they want to go and tamper on Nickelodeon properties. Let's see, what else do we got here? What other comments? It's really sad that they canceled the last Ronin movie. It would have been a badass R-rated movie of the Ninja Turtles. I do hope it got revived. I do hope it gets revived one day, since its concept sounds cool. The sonification of the TMNT sounds a bit intriguing, but I'm not sure what to say on that. We'll have to wait and see of how it'll go. But good thing we still got the Mutant Mayhem sequel to look forward to. Also, the Dora reboot is confirmed to be canceled, unfortunately. Yeah, I get it. All right, I think we got one more comment to go and read here. So, do we need another TMNT live action reboot? I think Sonic 5 means that they don't want like Michael Bay's live action movies. I thought the animated Mutant Mayhem universe was a success, and if it is true, then sadly we won't see another one after the sequel in 2027. Let's stop ranting on Paramount, especially the news on blacklisting. Let's stop ranting on Paramount, or anyways, especially the news on blacklisting actors and actresses for future films, and enjoy the last season of Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and even a new short next month. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's true that apparently the Ellisons have also blacklisted certain actors from working on any other Paramount movies, mainly because of their stance. I believe it's because of their stance on Palestine. Like, any pro-Palestinian actor out there or anybody who is vocally pro-Palestinian, they've been blacklisted from Paramount. And I mean, considering the direction that the business of Paramount is heading with the Ellisons, maybe that could be a good thing, because it's probably better to be associated with being pro-Palestine than to be associated with the Ellisons. And with that said, we're going to go on to our next break right now. And when we do come back, I'm going to tell you about a rite of passage for pop culture phenomenons. Something that you know when something is considered to be a major success and made a great impact in our culture when this task has been accomplished. And let me tell you, it is a very stupid rite of passage, so stay tuned for that. Welcome back, everyone. Now, when it comes to our next story, I am going to tell you about this rite of passage that I have referred to a little earlier. And when it comes to this rite of passage, you know that there is a pop culture phenomenon that really made its mark when this would go and immediately happen. In fact, it's hard for any pop culture phenomenon to move forward and to truly make its impact without having this to go and happen to it. Now, I will say, maybe it's not necessarily the case for anything that is a pop culture phenomenon, because there are some times when, you know, something like just a movie or just a song or just a series would go and have that happen to it. But usually when that happens, it's usually related to something that is extremely popular. And that is the case with this right here, with specifically KPop Demon Hunters. And the good news is that it did manage to go through that rite of passage, which is to go and piss off a Christian school to the point of having it being banned, or more specifically, to have the songs banned in this Christian school. Now, let me go into my source here on The Hollywood Reporter, and I'll go and explain to you the details of what actually happened here. In which, hold on, whoa, calm down, computer. It states right over here, Lilliput Church of England Infant School in Dorset sent a note to parents and carers for their pupils aged from 4 to 7, saying some members of the community are deeply uncomfortable with specific song lyrics in Netflix's smash hit film. According to BBC News, the initial note asked parents to encourage their children not to sing these songs at school out of respect for those who find the themes at odds with their faith. Staff explained that demons are associated with spiritual forces opposed to God and goodness, and therefore attempts must be made to foster and uphold the school's Christian ethos. So, they don't necessarily explain which songs specifically, but apparently the songs of KPop Demon Hunters might be viewed as anti-Christian, and singing those songs might offend some Christians, which is why they would have to go and ban them. And we even got some comments over here, specifically from the acting head teacher, Lloyd Allington, in which he wrote to the parents here, for some Christians, even fictional or playful use of this language can conflict with their faith, which emphasizes rejecting evil rather than engaging with it, even in entertainment. However, the dean even did, or not the dean, but the acting head teacher even acknowledged that, yes, there can be some good that did come out of KPop Demon Hunters, including some prominent themes that do align with Christian values, in which he states here, we want to reassure you that we are not asking parents to tell their children that there is anything wrong with enjoying the film or its songs if it aligns with your own views and beliefs. And this will not be the message we share in the school either. Our role will simply be to help children understand that some of their peers may hold different views and explore how we can respect and support those peers in upholding their faith. So that's pretty much the big thing that is going on with this, is the fact that this Christian school decided that they had none of it with the songs of KPop Demon Hunters and banned the children from singing it in their school property. And they're specifically pointing towards the kids between 4 and 7. And by the way, I just want to go and get this out of the way first and foremost. I tried to look it up, okay? I tried to look up what they tried to explain and what they mean specifically about what is it that the songs of K-pop Demon Hunters deviate from their Christian values. And they don't really bring up any examples. And honestly, I tried to think about it and think about like the songs from K-pop Demon Hunters, you know, stuff like How It's Done or Golden or Takedown or Soda Pop and all that kind of stuff. Like where is it specifically, or like, what is it that they're trying to say that completely deviates, or like, what is it that is like so anti-Christian per se? Like, where is it that they went wrong there? And honestly, I tried to think about it, and the most that I could think of, the most that could probably be viewed as something that could scare off Christians would be Your Idol. Because it's a song from the Saja Boys, and it's pretty much like, I guess you could say, the main villain song, where the Saja Boys are pretty much showing themselves in their demon form, you know, singing the song to audiences, basically hypnotizing them and like really taking advantage of their insecurities to go and pretty much give their souls to the Demon King. You know, that would be the big thing going on with that. But then again, I would go and argue that maybe Christians shouldn't go and actually call out songs like Your Idol. Considering that with Your Idol, the way that the Saja Boys would go and sing that song and with the lyrics and stuff like that, it does sound awfully familiar with how a lot of conservative Christians and evangelicals, with how they use the religion in order to go and bring in more people onto their side in a way. It's just that when the evangelicals do it, it's more like a hillbilly version of Your Idol, you know, like you would bring out the banjo like, you're my mind, you're my soul, and I'm gonna be your idol. And it's one of those things that even for conservative Christians that they could get turned on by, and they could go and make out with their cousins. Why would I go and make out with a woman who is not related to me by blood or anything? Not kissing your sister or your cousin. That's woke right there. Only liberals don't make out with their sisters. But anyways, to get back to my point, I honestly find it to be very suspicious where they would just go and immediately put a ban without actually going out of their way to go and explain it. Like, how is it that songs like either Golden or How It's Done, how would that be considered offensive to Christians? How would that conflict with their faith? You know, they don't explain anything. And that's where I personally find that it kind of feels a bit suspicious. Now, and that's one of the main things that I want to go and demand from the school. I want them to go and actually explain, go into details about what they mean. Because if they can't go and do so, then honestly, it feels like they're kind of hiding a bit of an agenda. It honestly feels like when people would go and bring up the politics card. I'm sure you guys have seen that quite often on social media, where they would go and condemn either an online personality, a movie, a show, or any piece of media that they would go and find. And they would say that they would refuse to go and engage with it because politics. And they would just leave it like that. It's like, oh, I don't like this guy. I don't like this thing because it's political. It talks about politics. It's too political for me. But the thing is, just by saying political, it's way too vague. What do you mean specifically? And it's the same thing here. Like, what is it about the K-pop Demon Hunter songs that are anti-Christian or that they would conflict with Christian views? Can you go and actually explain to us? Like, literally take, as I said, take one of the songs, take something like either Golden, or even take something like Takedown or even Soda Pop? How would that be considered anti-Christian or whatever? And the weirdest thing, by the way, when they would go and bring this up, like when they would go and discuss about demons or whatever, it's kind of weird where they would go and say, where was it? Yeah, like where they would try to explain that, oh, demons are associated with spiritual forces that oppose to God and goodness. Okay, but keep in mind that we are talking about K-pop Demon Hunters. Technically, Huntrix is on your side. They're hunting the demons to take them down and to make sure that the world can be saved from the demons and put them down in hell by covering the world with the golden whole moon. Okay? That's the point of K-pop Demon Hunters. They're on your side. So if they are singing, like if you hear the kids singing something like Golden or How It's Done or whatever that song was during the climax of the picture, when they would sing those songs, they're on Huntrix's side. They're singing the Demon Hunter songs. They're not singing the demon songs. Or maybe these people are taking it way too seriously on the fact that maybe Rumi is a half demon, so they consider her to be like a straight up demon. And not to mention that I've seen, of course, people commenting on this, and they would go and say that maybe the explanation, well, is to go and highlight the hypocrisy of modern Christianity, or especially with conservative Christianity, considering that when it comes to K-pop Demon Hunters, it doesn't go and present the demon hunters and the demons as black and white, especially when it comes to the relationship between Rumi and Jinu, and that its prominent themes are about basically breaking through prejudices. And, of course, there is the factor of fighting your inner demons, that in a way it could be perceived as basically when fighting your own inner demons, it would be viewed as fighting against a fearing God, not a fearing God. What's that term again? What is it that people use that they wouldn't fear God, that they prefer to that they prefer to be scared of God and just do what he says instead of seeing God as a loving force and stuff like that. Basically, it's basically one of those films that heavily promotes love over hate, and you could imagine that this is not necessarily cool with many conservative Christians and evangelicals out there. So maybe that could be the excuse. Again, it's the whole factor of how they're being way too vague with this situation. And they know that if they would go and fully explain themselves, then they're just going to end up in a corner where they're just going to end up looking like the bad guys by doing so. It's the same way that when people would go and try to antagonize others by saying that they are political, if they reveal their true reasons specifically as to why, then that they're just bad faith acting. That's why just saying, he's political, like that's not a legit excuse. Like, clarify exactly what you mean by why that is upsetting you so much. And it's the same thing. In my opinion, I want this church to really go out of their way and go into detail as to why children should not go and sing the K-pop Demon Hunters songs. Because if not, they're hiding their true reasons as to why, and they know that if they would reveal their reasons to the public, they would end up becoming a massive laughingstock, or at least even more of a laughingstock than they already are right now with this. So that's honestly all that I'm demanding. We need to know more as to why is it that they would be against the K-pop Demon Hunter songs. So with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what did you think of this news about the K-pop Demon Hunters songs being banned in an English Christian school? And also, why do you think it would be banned? I would love to know your theories and your thoughts on all this. All right, so let's see here. Yes, it is a milestone to be considered banned by schools. I think this Christian school doesn't like the demon hunters being Asian, non-married women who use weapons and live independently with their jobs. They probably also get scared of the Korean words they don't understand. Hell, they're probably angry that a demon can be redeemed or be a decent person. Plus, the songwriter mentions that she wrote Your Idol based on her experiences with Christianity. Oh, that is true. And I mean, honestly, I forgot to go and mention that, considering that it is true that, like, yeah, it is a rite of passage, considering that we've seen plenty of other pop culture phenomenons that would get that same kind of treatment. Like, for example, Harry Potter, for example, back when the books were released, and I think even before the first movie even came out, like, there was a moment where schools were like completely shocked and they immediately put up a ban on Harry Potter books because it opposes Christian values. It has black magic. It has witches and wizards and stuff like that. But then again, you can imagine how conservative Christians are pretty cool with J.K. Rowling now, considering that she has developed that mental illness that makes her attack the entire LGBTQ plus community and wishes genocide upon them. And yes, I do mean the entirety of the LGBTQ plus community, because even though she wants to target specifically trans people, if one falls, all of them fall. So I just want to clarify that. But then at the same time, there was also Pokemon. That was another one that did go through that rite of passage and did see some school bans, mainly because of the fact that they would go and say that, oh, they're demonic. Pokemon is evil. All these Pokemons are demons. They're practicing Satan's ways and stuff. But in actuality, the reason why they want to ban Pokemon is mainly because of how it recognizes evolution, which, as you guys know, completely goes against any of the Christian readings and any of the Christian lore. So in that regards, they want to go and censor that as much as possible. And again, I want to clarify, it's not just with pop culture phenomenons that experience that. Even a few years back, I talked about how there was Disney's Strange World that also got that treatment. It got banned, I believe it was in a Florida school, or in a very, in a school that's in a very red state, mainly because of how it acknowledges gay people. So yeah, honestly, it's just worth mentioning that alongside Harry Potter and Pokemon, KPop Demon Hunters has now gotten that treatment, or at least the songs have achieved that treatment, where they were able to piss off the Christians, or just the conservative Christians, the ones who are not actual Christians. Let's see now. This is really such a dumb decision. Listening to the K-pop Demon Hunters songs, I just have to ask, what is so anti-Christian about them? It really just kind of shows how there is a massive hypocrisy. This is literally a movie about fighting demons. It's just flat out ridiculous. This is honestly why nowadays I'm really embarrassed being a Christian, because these kinds of Christians give actual Christians such a bad name. Exactly. And this is not condemning Christianity as a whole. And I can understand why there are some that are so upset with the religion itself and those who practice it. I am not taking that away from you. Like, I know that with some LGBTQ plus people, they despise Christianity entirely and resent those who practice it. And honestly, I completely get it, especially with the way that they would go and treat you. It's just right now, conservatives are very much giving Christianity a bad name, and that's why the religion is now becoming less and less popular. That's why, honestly, in the near future, if Christianity hopes to survive and they want to make sure more people can come to church, they need to reject this modern conservatism and adopt more progressive views. On top of that, they need to go and change up some of the things that used to be the core aspect, and they got to go and be progressive with it. Instead of saying, like, instead of being against the LGBTQ plus community, they got to support it. Instead of rejecting abortion, they got to also support that as well. It's either they would go and switch it up to keep Christianity alive, or they maintain conservative values and the Christianity is going to go in the way of, like, Greek myths and stuff like that. Like, the whole Jesus story is just going to be nothing more but a myth, no different than the story of either Zeus or of Horus and stuff like that. All right, let's see. Oh, I can guarantee you just by saying that, I know that there are going to be some conservative Christians that are just going to blow their minds. Expect that to be something that you're going to see like, everybody is woke, everybody is ruining my life. Just more fuel to have me living rent-free in their heads. Anyways, where the fridge was I? Okay. Take it from me, man. Let me tell you a bit about a perspective. No matter how you place it, in Christianity, you can't have demons or witchcraft of any kind, even by name. They consider it a crime as much as stupidity, such as being gay. Trust me, I hated it. Takes the fun out of everything, and worse, makes my life feel trapped in a script and not live in a sense of independence and identity. I guess that, it probably is that. It's the fact that with KPop Demon Hunters, it's not, they don't portray demons as like black and white and stuff like that. And in the, if the Christians would have their hands on KPop Demon Hunters, they wouldn't want Rumi dead. That's basically the way that those kinds of evangelical Christians would want to go and have it. Let's see what other comment is there. Let's see. If K-pop Demon Hunters were released in the 2000s, I don't think I would be allowed to watch it since I was raised in a Christian household. I honestly felt trapped when I was a kid when I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter and Pokemon. Now hearing this news that the songs are banned in a Christian school really shows how much Christianity is declining in their reputation. Thankfully, I'm not a Christian anymore. I can watch whatever I want. I hated when someone tried to brainwash me on what I'm watching, or well, the comment kind of stops there, unfortunately. So I don't know what other words would be add. Anyways, last I checked, this movie was called KPop Demon Hunters. Then again, this is a Christian school who decided to ban a film that is literally about hunting demons, not saving them. This is counterintuitive. Then again, this is a Christian school. What did I expect? Ooh, excuse me. Exactly, man. Oh boy, I think God himself tried to choke me as I was telling the story, but I have prevailed. Okay, I think we got time to read one more comment. So, as a Christian myself, this move on banning songs from a Christian school is very silly and stupid. I've seen the movie a couple of months ago, and I never find anything offensive. I don't know why the school went as far as to banning the songs from the organization. There's nothing wrong with them. It's really stupid and hilarious at the same time. Imagine if they tried to ban songs from Has Been Hotel. That wouldn't go too well. Well, I mean, if they would go and put a ban on Has Been Hotel, that honestly, I think I would understand. Not because of Has Been Hotel itself. You got to keep in mind that this is a school specifically for kids 4 to 7. If kids 4 to 7 would go and talk about Has Been Hotel, that's when you gotta raise a flag and go like, hold up, something ain't right here. So I just want to go and clarify that. All right, so with that said, we got one more story to get into. And well, considering that we are close to the end of the year, you know what's going to be around the corner. That's right. We're soon going to go and start our discussions about award season. So stay tuned for that. And now, everyone, it is time that we will go and conclude this episode off with the grand finale. And for this grand finale, yes, folks, considering that the holidays are right around the corner, but this is not going to be about the holidays. Do you know what's going to be around that corner? Like just a couple of corners, and you will go and find award season. Yes, that's going to be happening pretty soon. In fact, I think in about a few weeks, or maybe closer than I believe, pretty soon we will go and hear the first batch of nominations, especially from the Golden Globes, considering that they like to do those early. But this ain't going to be about the Golden Globes. We are here to go and discuss about the big one, possibly the most talked about award show, at least in terms of movies. And that is going to be about the Oscars. Yes, the Academy Awards has revealed its list of eligible movies that are going to be contending to get a nomination for either Best Documentary Feature, Best International Feature, and especially Best Animated Feature. And the one that we are going to be focusing on here will be specifically for the Best Animated Feature category, in which this year it listed a total of 35 animated films that can get a nomination. So good news, it is already qualified in order to go and have 5 nominations in this. And so, to go and read you all this whole list of eligible animated features that can be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the 98th Academy Awards, they are: all operations are currently unavailable, Arco, The Bad Guys 2, Black Butterflies, Boys Go to Jupiter, Chainsaw Man, the movie Res Arc, Chow, Colorful Stage, the movie, a Miku who can't sing, David, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle, Dogman, Dragonheart, Adventures Beyond This World, Elio, Endless Cookie, Fixed, In Your Dreams, K-Pop Demon Hunters, The Legend of Hei 2, Light of the World, Little Emily or The Character of Rain, Lost in Starlight, A Magnificent Life, Mahavatar Narsimha. I hope I pronounced that. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but then again, maybe there are some I didn't pronounce it right. Night of the Zoopocalypse, Olivia and Las Nubes, 100 Meters, Out of the Nest, Scarlet, Slide, The SpongeBob Movie, Search for SquarePants, Stitchhead, The Twits, and finally, Zootopia 2. It is also worth noting, by the way, that there are a couple of movies here that are also trying out for other nominations for the Oscars, in which Endless Cookie is also trying to go and get a nomination for Best Documentary Feature, while Dog of God is also trying to be nominated for Best International Feature, representing Latvia. So they're hoping that Dog of God can go and follow the same footsteps as Flow. Now, what I usually like to do, at least during most of the years when this would go and happen, I want to go and try to make my prediction on what is going to be nominated for Best Animated Feature. So I do have a Word document here that we could go and inspect, and we could go and actually play up so that we know which ones can actually get nominated, which ones that we can remove, and which ones will be in the category of maybe. So if I would go and make my personal predictions on which ones are going to be nominated for the Oscars, well, first and foremost, let's go and get the ones that we know are going to be nominated and get that out of the way. And the first one we're going to look into is going to be the go-to Netflix movie. Because every year for the Best Animated Feature category, there is always at least one movie that was released on Netflix. Rather it be something that they have fully produced themselves, rather it be something like Klaus or Over the Moon or Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, or it's something that they've just distributed and another animation studio would fully work on that, such as Sony Pictures Animation with The Mitchells vs. the Machines, or Aardman with Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. But this year, however, I think there's no contest here. It's definitely going to be K-Pop Demon Hunters. I think it's safe to say that it has definitely secured a nomination, especially with the fact that it is one of the biggest movies of 2025. So just with that reputation alone, of course, it's going to get massive recognition and definitely will be getting a spot, not just at the Oscars, but just in award season in general, where it will be a prominent contender for the Best Animated Feature category. And this is not even to mention about the music and the songs that are in there. Because, of course, as you have seen, K-Pop Demon Hunters has already been prominently shown in the Grammy Awards, including Golden, which I believe is also nominated for Song of the Year. Now, is it actually going to win any of those awards? That honestly remains to be seen. And I feel like, honestly, the challenge of K-Pop Demon Hunters getting the Oscar for Best Original Song with something like Golden, I don't know. I feel like that's going to be massively iffy, especially when faced against, especially when being faced against the songs of Sinners. Because, with Sinners, that's going to be a prominent contender at the Oscars and like already a major frontrunner for Best Picture. So in that regards, like honestly, when it comes to Best Original Song, it's going to be very iffy if it will win or not. But when it comes to the nominations for Best Animated Feature, K-Pop Demon Hunters definitely has that secured. And that's not even to mention that, well, it's almost unanimously agreed that it is the best animated movie released this year on Netflix because because the other ones are just not great, honestly. Let's be real. The other animated films that Netflix put out, they range from being okay at best to just they flat out suck. So I might as well go and get this out of the way and just also have some removed. So we know The Twits is not going to be nominated. We know In Your Dreams is not going to be nominated. And we sure know that Fix is not going to get nominated. So those ones are completely out. Now, with that said, let's also go and discuss about the go-to Disney movie for Best Animated Feature, because much like with Netflix, we all know that every year there has to be at least one Disney movie that is nominated. And I'm just going to go and immediately say it right now. That is going to be Zootopia 2. That, I believe, is guaranteed to go and have the nomination, or at the very least, I feel like Zootopia 2 will have a much stronger chance to go and be nominated over Elio. And I'm just going to go and say right now, based on what I've been hearing in terms of the early reception of it and even early reviews, I don't think this is going to be a landslide for K-Pop Demon Hunters. Those that think that Huntrix is going to go and win it all for Best Animated Feature, the likelihood is not going to be strong. I could tell you that, because apparently Disney managed to give it their all with Zootopia 2, and the early reception has been massively strong. Some of the best that they have gotten in years. So I'm just going to lay it out there now. Much like with how Best Original Song is uncertain for K-Pop Demon Hunters to win, if it is true what the early reception is saying about Zootopia 2, it's also unlikely that K-Pop Demon Hunters is going to go and win the Oscar. So I'm just saying, it's a guarantee that with Zootopia 2, it's going to get a nomination. Now, with that said, though, I'm not going to go and immediately rule out Elio just yet, because there is that possibility that maybe it could get a nomination as well. I'm not going to say it's like for sure, but the chances of that are not zero. So that's why I'm just going to go and put that as a maybe. In fact, I'm going to go with a different color because you see nothing with yellow. So I'm going to go with, what would be here, I'll go with, what the fridge? That's way too bright. That's a way weird pink. Let's see. Okay, I'll go with this one. Yeah, much brighter, oddly enough. All right, but anyways, so yes, so we got K-Pop Demon Hunters, we got Zootopia 2, but then we also got the go-to international or independent animated feature. And by the way, I almost forgot to go and mention this, but what I personally find to be the biggest shock is that Norja 2 is not nominated in this. despite the fact that the movie went on to be the biggest animated feature of all time, even bigger than K-Pop Demon Hunters, where it not only went on to become the first ever animated movie to surpass $2 billion at the box office, it's right now the highest grossing animated film in history and among the top 5 highest grossing films ever. And yet, even though it did get an international distribution, it did get released in the US, and it did get an English dub where I believe Michelle Yeoh was a part of the English cast. You could go and correct me if I'm wrong on that, but no, they decided that it's not going to be a part of this. By the way, side note, thank you so much, Crimson Mayhem, for being a new fish here. But anyways, as I was saying, I'm kind of surprised that it didn't get nominated, but I'm guessing that maybe it's because it's a Chinese film. And feel free to go and clarify on this or to give some context, but I believe China is not allowed to go and submit films at the Academy Awards, so there could be that. I mean, there's no you never see like a Chinese representation of a movie to be nominated for Best International Feature. So I'm thinking it's maybe because the Academy has some kind of like anti-China law so that none of those films could actually be nominated. Let's see. That's not true. China has been allowed to submit films even today. Okay, so they can actually. Okay, never mind. Okay, I was wrong. So, but still, though, I find it weird that, you know, they wouldn't put in the effort to go and have Noja 2 be nominated. I don't know. I just feel like it's I just feel like that is a bit weird. Okay, that's the thing. Like, I'm just expressing my opinion that I'm just shocked that we're not seeing Noja 2 be nominated on this list, even though it would honestly be an easy contender. But with that said, if it's not going to be Noja 2 that will be the independent or international representation, who would that be? And in my opinion, I think that title is going to belong to Arco. Because when it comes to Arco, that's the movie that I would often hear in the film festival circles where people would go and say that Arco is the big animation one that really does stand out from the crowd. And I remember talking to Rachel of Rachel's Reviews about this, not specifically about Arco, but how things have been this year with film festivals. And one of the major things that people have been talking about is in regards to what's going to be the next flow. What's going to be the next independent feature that's going to be a massive surprise and just sweep the awards, or even above any of the big players like Disney or Netflix or DreamWorks or anything like that. And if there would be one movie that can do that, it's most likely going to be Arco. So again, it's not always certain about who's going to be the big winner. Like, flow really is a massive game changer, especially when now there is a rule that if you are going to go and vote on Best Animated Feature, you must watch all the movies. So that's why, like, it's going to be a lot more unpredictable from here on out. You never know if people would expect K-Pop Demon Hunters, and then Arco is going to come in, swipe that trophy, and go, taste the rainbow, bitches! So, yeah, with all that said, if there is going to be one independent movie that's going to get a nomination, it will be Arco for sure. But with that said, I also want to go and get rid of plenty of the other movies that I'm pretty confident is not going to get a nomination. We might as well get a lot of those out of the way. And we'll go and start things off with a lot of the lesser known movies, because if they don't make much of a name for themselves at film festivals, if they don't go and win any major awards, the chances of them being nominated are unfortunately unlikely. So, this isn't to go and slam any of these movies. It's just to go and say that their chances of being nominated at the Oscars, in my opinion, I find it's unlikely. So all operations are currently unavailable, won't happen. Black Butterflies won't happen. Boys Go to Jupiter ain't gonna happen. Chow, I don't think it's gonna happen. Even like some of the Christian ones, honestly, David is not gonna go and happen. Dog of God, even though, like, yes, Latvia did amazingly well with Flow, but I don't think that's going to be the next Flow, sadly. Dragonheart, not going to get nominated. First time I heard that. Same thing with Endless Cookie. Legend of Hay 2 as well. Light of the World. I'd also add Lost in Starlight. Mahavatar. That's also not going to get nominated. Olivia and Les Nubus and 100 Meters, since I highlighted that. Out of the Nest, and I'll even add Slide. And on that note, I might as well also include Stitchhead also, since I don't think that's getting nominated. But even in terms of the mainstream features, I think though, like a lot of them, I don't really see them get much of a nomination. So honestly, the SpongeBob movie, SpongeBob never got an Oscar nomination. So The Search for SquarePants, even though I haven't seen it, I can already tell that that's not going to be getting a nomination. Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, honestly, highly doubt that's getting a nomination. Dogman, I don't think that's going to get a chance. And even The Bad Guys 2. And I mean, I know there are people who really do enjoy The Bad Guys movies and even the sequel. But if the first movie didn't get a nomination, I highly doubt the second one will as well. And then you also have the anime movies. Since you do... Oh, and also I almost forgot about Night of Zoopocalypse. I don't think that's getting a nomination either. But then you also have some notable anime movies that are nominated here. And honestly, I don't think they're going to be getting any chance because, yes, like anime movies in general can get nominated, but when they are based on major franchises like Chainsaw Man or Hatsune Miku or even Demon Slayer, I don't really, they don't get that much of a chance. So I don't see any of those actually get a nomination. But then you got some of the others that could have a chance. And these are the other three that I would put in a maybe. Like Little Emily or The Character of Rain. That is an indie film that I've heard often from time to time. Like, this is one of those movies that have been distributed by G Kids. And G Kids actually has a very strong track record when it comes to distributing independent animated features that would go on to be nominated for Best Animated Feature. So I believe with Little Emily, that could have a chance. It's not a guarantee, but I honestly feel like that could be a maybe. Yeah, and even someone even mentioned that it did win Animation is Film's biggest prize. So honestly, I feel like that could possibly have a chance to receive a nomination. And then there's also A Magnificent Life, which is actually Sylvain Chomet's movie. And Sylvain Chomet is another filmmaker and animator who has a very strong track record when it comes to actually getting a nomination at the Oscars, whether it be his animated shorts or even the movies that he would make, like with Triplets of Belleville or even The Illusionist. So there is also a likelihood that A Magnificent Life could actually get a nomination and be another prominent independent or international movie that could be present that could be present at the Oscars. And then also we also have Scarlet. And I think out of all the anime movies that have been nominated, I think Scarlet is the one that has the strongest chance, considering that we are talking about a movie from Mamoru Hosoda, the same filmmaker that has brought us films such as Summer Wars, Wolf Children, and even received an Oscar nomination for Mirai. So there is also a likelihood that he could get a nomination. And by the way, I did notice that the chat wall is also mentioning that some people are even mentioning that when it comes to Magnificent Life and Scarlet, that so far the reception from critics, they've just been okay. They're not great, maybe sometimes not good, but it's like they're not necessarily getting the best reception compared to the previous works. So if that's the case, maybe their chances are not necessarily as strong as some of the others, if that would be the case. So honestly, in that regards, I think we might end up with our official list here. And I think this is going to be my personal prediction on what's going to get nominated. And I just want to go and say, I could totally be wrong, but this is what I think based on the predictions, based on the guessing, based on the reception that each of these movies have gotten or their reputation. This is who I think is going to be nominated for Best Animated Feature, at least at the Oscars. And my prediction is Arco, Elio, KPop Demon Hunters, Little Amélie, or the character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. I think those are going to be the 5 movies that will be nominated. And again, I could totally be wrong. And maybe Elio could be switched up with another one. Maybe like A Magnificent Life could actually get a nomination instead of that one. Like the one that I personally feel like could be unsure, the most unsure, it would be Elio. But that's just going to be my guess right now. Am I going to be correct? Am I going to be wrong? Honestly, we'll have to wait and see. And no, I'm not going to go and say what the winner is just yet. We're still way too early for that, all right? Let's just wait. Let's wait until the actual award season actually comes, let alone let me actually watch some of these movies first. Like, I don't think I could go and immediately say what I think is going to be the winner when, as I'm recording this, I have yet to see Zootopia 2. So I'm just saying, though. All right, I'm going to save that in the near future. But I can promise you, this is what I believe to be the nominations. So am I right? Am I wrong? Let's wait and see on that. And with that said, now I would like to pass this on to the chat wall. And I'd like to ask you all, what do you think is going to be nominated at the Oscars for Best Animated Feature? Make your predictions right now, and if you want to explain yourself, feel free to do so. I would love to read what you think. All right, so there's definitely some solid nominees. For me, my prediction is KPop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, Arco, Elio, and Little Amélie. But regardless, I wish all the nominees the best of luck. Although I'm very disappointed Noja 2 didn't get submitted. Also, I think at this point it's guaranteed that KPop Demon Hunters will get a Best Original Song nomination, most likely for Golden, considering it also got nominated at the Grammys. Yeah, I think like there is a strong... Well, actually... I don't know, honestly. And this is not doubting K-pop Demon Hunters, because honestly, I feel like there is that possibility that maybe it might not get a nomination, mainly because there have often been times when the Oscars would shaft animation from the music categories altogether. It's like when Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse would commonly get nominated for Best Original Score, but it didn't get one at the Oscars. So the chances of it not being nominated are honestly unlikely, but those chances are not zero. So I just want to go in and put that out there. Anyways, let's see what we got here. So here is my own prediction for the nominees for the 98th Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature. K-Pop Demon Hunters, insert G-Kids movie here, so Little Amélie, Arco, Scarlet, and Zootopia 2. Hopefully Elio will make it, but I don't know. I have seen most of them I mentioned. Zootopia 2 I'll be seeing tomorrow. I have seen Scarlet last month, and it's great. But who will win? I honestly don't know, and it shouldn't matter. What matters is that we should be celebrating this. All right, and let's see. Another one mentions Arco, Elio, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Little Amélie, and Zootopia 2. Other than Noja 2, I also realized I Am Frankelda didn't make it on the list here. Well, I mean, with I Am Frankelda, it didn't get like a full-on proper screening in the US in order to be eligible. Like maybe in like next year's award season, like when I Am Frankelda can get more screenings in the US, that could actually get a chance to get nominated. Let's see now. And I'm honestly surprised that everybody is kind of repeating the same thing that I said, that it is like a lot of them are saying that it's Zootopia 2, Little Emily, Elio, Arco, and oh wow, some people are not even mentioning K-pop Demon Hunters. Like I was reading this list, it's like Zootopia 2, Little Emily, Elio, Arco, and instead of K-pop Demon Hunters, it's Scarlet. Interesting. All right, let's see now. I would go with Zootopia 2, Arco, K-pop Demon Hunters, Scarlet, and Magnificent Life. All right, interesting choice. Interesting. Let's see now. There's a lot of nominations eligible for next year's Oscars. My prediction would be Dogman, Zootopia 2, K-pop Demon Hunters, Night of Zoopocalypse, Elio, and The Bad Guys 2. Well, that's technically 6. I add Night of Zoopocalypse because that film is honestly solid, and I feel like it deserves to be recognized given Clive Barker is involved with the film. Regardless of who will be in the nominees, good luck with them on getting lucky. All right, and I'll read one more. Let's see. I choose, well, okay, it's the same one. K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, Arco, Little Emily, and Elio, with Scarlet as an honorable mention. Very interesting. And I'm honestly surprised that many of you share the same thoughts as I do. Like, there are some little switches, but at least we all agree that at the very least, 3 of the guarantees are going to be Arco, K-pop Demon Hunters, and Zootopia 2. But who's actually going to be nominated? Well, we're about to find out when the actual Oscar nominations will be announced in January. I think it might be January 22nd, but I could be wrong. But I know it's going to be somewhere in January where they are going to go and announce it. And with that said, though, that should do it for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Thank you all so much for joining me on this, and tune in next time where we are going to see even more crazy stories to go and talk about here. And I just want to go and say that if you guys enjoyed your time here on AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, don't forget to go and subscribe to either the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel or the AniMat Live Twitch channel. At the same time, if you are listening to this on whatever podcast service you're listening to, then don't forget to go and follow me there, whether it be on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, or any other service. And with that said, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.